The house is quiet, but the kind of quiet that makes your heart beat louder. A small shoe on the mat, a photo turned face down on the shelf, and a promise Jax thought was safe until her daughter whispered a name Jax never wanted to hear again. Eddie.jx stands by the doorway, breathing slow, counting the seconds like they might hold her together. She didn't come here for tea or small talk. She came because the ground under her life just cracked, and she needs the truth before the pieces slide apart. Her phone buzzes in her pocket. A message from the babysitter. Kids fine, homework done, bedtime in half an hour. Jax stares at those words and feels both love and fear pull at her chest. She told them she would always keep them safe. She told them monsters do not get second chances. And now a stranger's name is floating through her home like a cold draft. Eddie, the man who left scars that don't show on skin. The man her mother swears has changed. The man Jax swore would never meet her children. Not once, not ever. She pictures her little girl's face, bright with the kind of trust that breaks your heart. Nana's friend said I draw like a pro, she had said, spinning in the kitchen, hair ribbon flying. Jax smiled then, but now the memory makes her jaw clench. Nana's friend. That's the knife. That's the trick. It doesn't say his name, but the blade is sharp all the same. Jax turns the thought over, slow and steady, and feels the old heat rise. It's not only about the past and what he did. It's about lines we draw to protect the small hands that hold ours. It's about doors we keep closed because love without safety is not love, it's a trap. Across the room, her mother pretends not to notice the storm in her eyes. She moves a cup, wipes a clean counter, rearranges nothing into nothing. This is how she has always done it, tidy the surface and hope the mess disappears. Jax used to let that happen. She would swallow her words, tuck her pain into quiet corners, and carry on. But something changed when she became a mother. The soft part of her grew fierce. The shy part found a voice. And now that voice is pushing up her throat, breaking through fear, through old rules, through the neat lies people tell when the truth is too heavy to lift. She thinks of how it started. A phone call she missed. A text with a smiley face. A weekend at Nana's that came home with a new story. He's different now came later, like a bandage slapped over a wound that never closed. Different. People love that word. It is bright and hopeful. It asks you to forget the nights you stayed awake, waiting for a door to open that never opened, waiting for an apology that never came. Different is easy to say when you are not the one who had to rebuild trust brick by brick. Jax knows this. She earned the right to be careful. She paid for it with years. She watches the light fade in the window and lets the room dim with it. The air seems thicker, like the house is holding its breath. Jax lets herself remember Eddie as he was, not as the story paints him now. The laugh that flattered first, then cut. The words that seemed gentle until they pressed down and down and down. The day everything tipped and she realized nice can hide cruel, and charm can be a mask. She won't let that mask near her children. Not while she has a say. Not while she is still standing. Her mother's footsteps stop. A long silence stretches like a wire between them. Jax can hear the fridge hum, the tick of a cheap clock, the far-off bark of a dog that has nothing to do with them. She thinks, if I don't speak now, the silence will make the choice for me. That is how it always happens. Someone waits, someone looks away, and the moment slips past. But the cost of silence is too high now. It's measured in bedtime stories told with a tight smile in little heads that rest on pillows under a roof that might not be safe. It's measured in the way her daughter's voice changed when she said, Nana's friend, Jax can't pay that price. She steadies herself with the facts. The promise was clear. No contact, no visits. No, it just happened moments. No second chances until Jax herself said it was time. That time never came. The promise still stands. And yet, here they are. Somehow the line got crossed while everyone smiled and said nothing. It makes her want to shout. It makes her want to walk out and slam the door and never look back. But she knows walking out won't fix this. Walking out leaves the line blurry, and blurry lines are how harm sneaks in. She thinks of what her children need to see in her tonight. Not rage that burns and fades. Not fear that shakes and hides. They need to see the simple, steady shape of a boundary. They need to hear a voice that speaks calm and firm and does not bend when someone tries to bend it. They need to know their mother can stand in a storm and not move. Jax lets the picture settle in her mind. She breathes in. She breathes out. The words gather on her tongue, small and plain and sharp enough to cut through years of denial. She steadies her mother. Sees the tired lines that were carved there. The hope that refuses to die even when it's shed. She knows her mother does not mean harm. But love without wisdom can be dangerous. Kindness without memory can be cruel. Jax will not fight the past again. She will not explain what was already explained. She will not share the blame for a choice she did not make. This time, the rule is going to be simple, and it is going to be spoken in a way that cannot be bent into something else. Before any more stories drift home, before Nana's friend gets a real name at her table, before trust turns thin as paper, Jax opens her mouth, and the room leans in to listen. The air between them feels heavy, thick like smoke that won't clear. Her mother stands by the window, the curtain edge caught between her fingers, twisting and untwisting. Outside, the street is quiet, a soft hum of night traffic blending with the tick of the wall clock. Neither of them has said a word yet. Silence stretches out, and Jax feels it wrapping around her throat like a scarf pulled too tight. Her mother finally speaks, her voice small, careful, as if she's afraid of her own words. "I didn't mean to upset you, Jax. He was just helping fix the fence." Jax lets out a laugh that doesn't sound like a laugh at all, more like something breaking on its way out. Fixing the fence. That's what this is now? A simple favor. The same hands that caused so much damage now holding a hammer near her children's world. She takes a slow step forward, eyes fixed on the floor. The floorboards creak under her feet. "You told me he wouldn't be around them, Mom," she says, her voice calm but shaking at the edges. "You promised." Her mother doesn't turn around. People change, sweetheart. He's trying. He feels terrible about everything that happened. Jax shakes her head, words fighting their way up her throat. Trying doesn't erase what he did. Feeling sorry doesn't make him safe. Her pulse beats in her temples. The kitchen smells like lemon cleaner and something burning something left too long on the stove. Maybe it's dinner. Maybe it's the truth. Her mother finally faces her, eyes glassy, tired. "You have to forgive sometime, Jax. Holding on to hate only hurts you." Jax stares at her mother like she's hearing a stranger. "This isn't hate," she says quietly. "This is protection." She walks to the counter, fingers tracing the edge, grounding herself. "You weren't there when I was afraid to walk outside. You didn't see what he was capable of. You didn't watch your own child cry because she heard his name." Her mother looks down, guilt flickering across her face. She opens her mouth, but Jax keeps talking because if she stops now, she might never start again. "You think forgiveness is peace, but sometimes it's just surrender. And I can't surrender my kid's safety because you want to believe in his second chance." The words hang there, sharp and solid. Her mother flinches slightly, like they've landed exactly where they were meant to. A clock chimes somewhere in the distance, cutting through the silence. The house feels smaller now, like the walls are listening. Her mother exhales, setting herself. "You think I don't remember? You think I forgot what he did?" She says, voice trembling. "I live with it every day. I see it every time I look at you. I wanted to believe he could be better. That maybe if someone gave him kindness, it might fix something inside him." Jax's chest tightens. There it is, the softness that has always undone her mother. The kind that tries to heal broken people by breaking herself. "You can't fix everyone, Mom," she whispers. "Some people don't want to be fixed. They just want to be let back in." Her mother's eyes glisten. "He said he wanted to apologize. I thought it might help you both." Jax looks away, blinking back the sting in her eyes. "Help me? You think bringing him near my children helps me?" She steps closer, her voice lower now, steadier. You think I want my daughter to look at a man like that and think forgiveness means pretending nothing happened? Her mother looks wounded, clutching her cardigan tighter. You're twisting it. That's not what I meant. Jax shakes her head again. That's exactly what you meant. You meant for me to sit at the same table, drink the same coffee, and act like the years didn't happen. Like what he did didn't leave marks. The fridge hums louder now, the sound filling every pause between them. Jax feels her hands trembling, not from anger anymore, but from exhaustion, the kind that comes from carrying old pain too long. She takes a slow breath, forcing her voice soft. I'm not doing this to hurt you. I just can't let him near them. Not ever. Not while I'm breathing. Her mother's eyes fill again. Tears she doesn't wipe away this time. You sound just like your father, she whispers. The night presses in, the kind of night that feels alive, like it's watching, listening, judging every word left unsaid. The house seems to shrink around them, walls closing in as if they too are afraid of what comes next. Jax stands by the door, her fingers brushing the cool metal of the handle, but she doesn't move. Leaving would be easy. Staying means facing the truth her mother has spent years burying under phrases like he's changed and everyone deserves a second chance. But easy never kept anyone safe, not her children. Her mother's voice breaks through the quiet, fragile but steady. You make it sound like I wanted to hurt you. Like I wanted to bring him back into your life just to cause pain. She takes a small step forward, her slippers dragging softly on the wooden floor. I did it because I saw a man who was sorry. Because I saw hope. You used to believe in that too. Jax's laugh is soft, tired, without humor. Hope, she repeats, staring at the floor. I used to believe hope could fix anything until I realized it can also blind you. She turns, meeting her mother's eyes. You want to see the best in everyone, but not everyone deserves to be seen that way. Some people earn the darkness they live in. The words slice through the air. Her mother flinches like she's been struck, and for a moment, Jax feels a pang of guilt. Not because she's wrong, but because she remembers what it's like to want to believe someone can change. To cling to that tiny spark of goodness and pretend it's enough to light up all the bad. She used to do that with Eddie, until that spark burned her whole world down. Her mother steadies herself against the table, voice trembling. You think you know everything, but you don't. You were too young to understand what really happened. Jax tilts her head slightly. Then tell me. Tell me what I was too young to know. Her mother hesitates, eyes darting away, fingers fidgeting with the edge of her sweater. He didn't just hurt you, she says quietly. He hurt me too. I didn't tell you because I didn't want you to carry it. The room goes still. Jax's breath catches in her throat. For years, she built her anger on the foundation of her mother's silence, believing that silence meant permission, or worse, forgiveness. But this confession shifts something deep inside her. It doesn't erase the pain, but it twists it, reshapes it into something more complicated. Then why Mom? She whispers, voice barely holding. Why bring him back? Why risk everything again? Her mother's shoulders shake. Because I wanted to believe people could change. Because I wanted to believe I wasn't foolish for loving someone who hurt us. Because if he could change, maybe I could too. Jax feels her eyes sting, tears threatening, but refusing to fall. She takes a slow step forward. You don't need him for that, she says softly. You don't need his apology to heal. You don't owe him forgiveness to move on. You owe yourself peace, and peace doesn't live where pain sleeps. Her mother covers her mouth, a quiet sob escaping before she can stop it. The sound cuts through Jax's chest, but she doesn't move to comfort her. Not yet. The truth has to land first. It has to sit between them, raw and heavy. For years, their love has been built on unspoken rules. Don't talk about the past. Don't bring up names that hurt. Don't ruin the calm. But tonight, calm has no meaning. Only clarity does dot outside. A car passes, its headlights sweeping across the walls, the flash of movement, then gone. The light catches the edge of an old photo on the counter. It's from years ago, Jax, her mother, and Eddie smiling like the world was kind. Jax stares at it. That frozen moment feels like a lie carved in paper. She reaches for it, lifts it, and for the first time, doesn't feel the weight of nostalgia, only the weight of survival. She sets the photo face down. I can't keep pretending, she says, more to herself than to her mother. Every time you let him near, it tells me my pain doesn't matter. It tells me you still see the man he was pretending to be, not the man he became. Her mother wipes her eyes, her voice small. And if I tell him to stay away, if I do what you ask, Jax meets her gaze. Then maybe we can start healing. Maybe I can trust you again. The silence that follows isn't empty. It's full of all the things they've never said. The house creaks softly, the wind hums through the cracks, and Jax feels something loosen in her chest. It's not forgiveness, not yet. But it's the first time in years she feels like she can breathe in this room without choking on memories. Her mother nods slowly, as if surrendering to a truth too long avoided. I never wanted to lose you, she whispers. You won't, Jax says quietly. But you will lose me if you choose him over what's right. Her mother's hands tremble as she presses them against the table. The weight of generations of women who learn to make peace with their pain sits heavy between them. Jax sees it now, clear as glass. Her mother wasn't weak. She was just tired. Tired of fighting, tired of carrying regret. But Jax isn't tired, not yet. She still has fight left, and she will use every bit of it to protect the world her kids sleep in. A clock ticks, steady and slow. It sounds like a heartbeat. The night hums around them, low and uncertain. Jax steps back toward the door, her voice calm now, strong in its quiet. He doesn't come near them again. Not the school, not the park, not your house when they're here. If he does, I'll go to the police myself. Her mother looks up, startled by the steel in her daughter's voice. You wouldn't, I would, Jax cuts in. And you know I would. The two women stand there, the past hanging between them like smoke. Somewhere in that tension is love, bruised, stubborn, but still alive. And maybe that's enough. As Jax turns the handle, the door creaks open, letting in a cool rush of air. She glances back once, her voice softer now. I'm not doing this to punish you. I'm doing this to break the cycle. Her mother nods slowly, tears sliding down her face. Then maybe it's about time someone did. The door closes gently behind Jax, but the echo of it lingers, not as an ending, but as the sound of something finally beginning. The night outside is colder than Jax expected. The kind of cold that doesn't sting, it seeps. The air feels like truth, sharp, clean, and impossible to hide from. She steps off the porch, each movement slow, deliberate, as if her body is still catching up with what her heart just did. Behind her, the door remains shut, but she can still hear the faint sound of her mother's sobs muffled through the wood. Jax stops halfway down the path, looks back at the warm light spilling from the window, and feels an ache rise in her chest. That house holds so many memories, laughter, pain, lies wrapped in love. And tonight, she left a piece of herself inside it. She walks toward her car, her breath fogging the air, keys trembling in her hand. The sky above is heavy with clouds, not yet rain, but close. It feels like everything could break open at any second. She unlocks the door and sits, staring through the windshield at nothing in particular. Her reflection looks strange, older, harder, but somehow freer. She whispers to herself, barely audible, you did the right thing, but right doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it feels like ripping out roots so deep you don't know what will grow in their place. A small vibration pulls her from the silence, her phone. A message from the babysitter again, kids are asleep. Everything's fine. That word, fine, lands heavy. Jax nods to no one, gripping the phone tighter. They're safe, she says softly. They're fine because I made sure of it. The words help steady her, but they don't erase the guilt. She knows her mother is alone in that house now, replaying every word, every choice. And part of Jax wishes she could go back in, hold her, say it wasn't all her fault. But another part, the part that remembers fear in the dark and the promises broken, knows she can't. She starts the car but doesn't drive yet. Instead, she lets the engine hum fill the quiet. It's strange how endings sound so much like beginnings. One moment closing, another unfolding in its shadow. She leans back, lets her head rest against the seat, eyes closing for a second too long. And then, like a whisper from the past, she remembers her mother's words. "You sound just like your father." Jax hadn't wanted to hear it then, but now, sitting here alone, she lets the memory surface. Her father wasn't perfect, but he was steady. When things fell apart, he didn't talk much. He just drew a line and stood by it. Maybe that's what strength really is, she thinks. Not shouting, not proving your pain, just standing your ground when everyone else wavers. A memory flashes, her father standing in the same driveway years ago, arguing with her mother about Eddie, his voice calm but final. "He's not coming here again." And her mother, teary and pleading, "He's family, he needs us." Then her father walking away, shoulders heavy but head high. That night, he slept on the couch, but Jax remembers feeling safer than she had in months. The memory hits her like a wave, not of sadness, but of understanding. Maybe this is what he meant, that sometimes love isn't soft. Sometimes it's the firmest thing you'll ever hold. Rain begins to tap against the windshield, light at first, then steadier. The street glistens, reflecting the flickering porch light behind her. Jax watches the drops chase each other down the glass, and for a moment, she sees her reflection blur, dissolve, then reappear clearer. She exhales, long and slow. Maybe this is what healing looks like, not a clean cut, but a slow unraveling of everything that once held you too tight.